Have you ever looked at someone kind, selfless, hardworking, and wondered why life keeps breaking them?
Or worse, have you been that person? The one who does everything right and still ends up shattered inside.
You give, you strive, you hold it all together, but nothing seems to give back.
What if being good isn't enough to protect you from suffering?
If those questions hit home, then you're exactly where you need to be. And while you're here, make sure you don't miss out on more insights like this by hitting subscribe to our channel, Think and Rebound, right now.
All right, so today we're going to explore this age-old question, not with easy answers, but with a different lens, a lens that has helped countless individuals navigate life's inevitable storms.
Absolutely. We often associate suffering with wrongdoing, but life isn't always that black and white. It's far more nuanced, and sometimes the most challenging experiences can be our greatest teachers.
Today, we're diving into the heart of Stoic philosophy, not as an academic exercise, but as a practical guide for modern life. We'll show you how a shift in perspective, a change in how you respond to what's outside your control, can transform your suffering into strength.
Now, to help us understand this better, we're going to share some stories. Please note the names we use are purely fictional, meant to represent real-life experiences we can all relate to.
Let's start with Elias. Elias was, by all accounts, a truly good person. His lifelong aspiration was to create a positive ripple effect in the world, to inspire and uplift those around him. He dreamed of fostering environments where people could truly flourish and reach their full potential.
He poured his heart into this ambition, dedicating himself to various community initiatives and constantly seeking ways to support others. He genuinely believed that if he did good, good would naturally follow.
Then, the unimaginable happened. His mother, his anchor, fell gravely ill. The medical bills began to pile up, fast and relentlessly. Elias, with his modest income, found himself drowning in debt, desperately trying to cover her escalating care.
On top of that, the organization he was deeply involved with underwent a major restructuring, bringing with it a wave of budget cuts and a much more rigid, less compassionate approach to their mission. Elias, known for his innovative but deeply human-centered contributions, suddenly found his passion stifled, his efforts undervalued.
He started to feel immense pressure. The financial strain was immense. The emotional toll of seeing his mother suffer was crushing. And now even his sanctuary, his work, felt like a battleground. He became withdrawn, his usual optimism replaced by a deep sense of despair.
Have you ever been in a situation where everything you believed in, everything you worked for, felt like it was crumbling? You look at others who seem to effortlessly glide through life and wonder, why me? What did I do to deserve this? We all go through moments like this.
Elias was experiencing what many good people do, the baffling reality that virtue doesn't shield you from adversity. This is precisely where Stoicism offers a radical yet incredibly powerful perspective.
At its core, Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between what is within our control and what is outside our control. This isn't about apathy or indifference. It's about intelligent focus.
Things like our thoughts, our judgments, our attitudes, our reactions, and our actions, these are within our control.
Things like other people's opinions, external events, illnesses, natural disasters, and the past, these are outside our control. The suffering Elias was experiencing wasn't just from the events themselves, but from his reaction to them, his internal struggle against what he couldn't change.
One evening, completely overwhelmed, Elias stumbled upon an old philosophy book his grandfather had left him. It was on Stoicism. He started reading, not really expecting much, but something resonated with him.
The first principle that hit him was the idea of amor fati, the love of fate. Not a passive acceptance, but an active embrace of everything that happens, not just the good, but also the bad, as necessary for our growth.
Elias realized he had been fighting reality. He'd been resisting his mother's illness, the financial burden, the new policies at his organization. This resistance was adding an extra layer of pain on top of the actual events.
So he started small. Instead of complaining about the new policies at work, he focused on what he could control, how he prepared for his tasks, how he engaged with his team despite the constraints, and how he maintained his own integrity.
He began to practice negative visualization. Instead of always hoping for the best, he would sometimes imagine the worst-case scenario, not to dwell on it, but to mentally prepare, to appreciate what he still had, and to build resilience.
This might sound counterintuitive. Why would you think about bad things when you're already suffering? But the Stoics understood that by confronting our fears in advance, we strip them of their power. We realize that even in the worst scenarios, we still possess our ability to choose our response. What would you do in a situation like that?
Lita started applying this to his mother's situation. He still sought the best medical care, but he also mentally prepared himself for the possibility of things not improving. This didn't make him less loving. It made him more present and less anxious about the uncontrollable future.
Another key Stoic concept is the idea that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgment about events.
Think about it. Two people can experience the exact same setback, say, a major project failing. One person might fall into deep despair, feeling like their career is over. The other might see it as an opportunity for a fresh start, a chance to refine their skills or pivot to a new area. The event is the same. The interpretation, the judgment, is different.
Elias began to challenge his own judgments. When he felt anger at the new management, he'd ask himself, is this anger serving me? Is it within my control to change this person's mind? Or is it better to focus on what I can do?
He also focused on the Stoic virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These aren't abstract ideals, they are practical guides for living.
Wisdom to discern what is good and bad, what is in our control and what is not.
Courage to face adversity, not to shrink from it, but to meet it head-on with resilience.
Justice in our dealings with others, treating everyone fairly and with respect, even when they act unjustly towards us.
And temperance, self-control, moderation, not allowing our passions and desires to control us.
Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, Elias started to change. He wasn't miraculously debt-free, nor was his mother suddenly cured, but his internal landscape was transforming.
He found additional work to supplement his income, not out of panic, but out of a calm assessment of what he needed to do. He continued to advocate for positive changes in his organization, but he did so strategically, focusing on what was achievable rather than raging against what wasn't.
He accepted that his mother's illness was a profound challenge, but he chose to see it as an opportunity to practice compassion and presence, to cherish every moment they had together rather than being consumed by fear of the inevitable.
Elias found a profound sense of inner peace, not because his external circumstances had changed, but because he had changed his relationship with those circumstances. He realized that the suffering wasn't the problem. His perception of the suffering was the problem.
This isn't to say he didn't feel sadness or frustration. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about acknowledging them without letting them control you. It's about knowing that you can feel pain and still act virtuously, still maintain your inner fortress.
Let's consider another brief example. Sarah, a young woman with a fervent desire to create something innovative, poured her life savings into a venture that ultimately failed spectacularly. She could have descended into victimhood, blaming everyone and everything.
Instead, after an initial period of grief, which is natural and important to acknowledge, she applied Stoic principles. She asked herself, what did I learn? What did I control in this process? What can I take forward?
She chose to see the failure as an expensive but invaluable education. She pivoted, used the lessons learned, and started a new, smaller venture with a clearer vision and more realistic expectations. And this time, she succeeded. Her suffering became the fuel for her future success.
Or consider David, a man whose deepest desire was to express himself through music. He suffered a career-ending injury to his hand. His dream was shattered. He could have been consumed by bitterness.
But David, with a Stoic mindset, focused on what he still had: his mind, his creativity, his ability to teach. He couldn't play, but he could compose, he could mentor, he could inspire. He found a new path to contribute to the world of music, a path that brought him a different kind of fulfillment.
So, why do good people suffer? The Stoics would tell us that suffering is an inevitable part of life, regardless of how good you are. It's not a punishment, it's a given.
The suffering itself isn't the problem. The problem arises when we resist reality, when we fight against what we cannot control, and when we allow our judgments about events to dictate our inner peace.
Stoicism offers us a framework to navigate this. It's about focusing your energy where it matters, on your reactions, your choices, your virtues. It's about cultivating inner resilience, so that when the storms come, and they will, you have an unshakable fortress within you.
If you're currently grappling with a challenge or simply want to build greater resilience in your life, don't just listen to these words.
Choose one practical Stoic concept we discussed today and try to apply it in the next 24 hours. Maybe it's practicing amor fati with a small annoyance you face. Embrace it, don't fight it. Or perhaps it's challenging a negative judgment you have about a difficult situation.
Start small. Be consistent. That's how you build a life of purpose and peace, regardless of the suffering that life inevitably throws your way.